Episode of the Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Acorn 30.
Wait, that's our company.
Right. Although some people think we're a bit nuts, we work with businesses to help them grow into mighty oaks through creative campaigns, amazing websites, and funky branding. Check us out at acorn30.com. On this episode, Instagram's sponsored posts increase 44%. What are the best times to post to Instagram? Stopping influencer fraud and using Instagram stories for marketing.
Creativity sells. Applying the right creative at the right time is the recipe for great marketing. The Marketing Podcast looks at marketing news and finds the secret ingredients that make great marketing.
Hi, welcome to the Marketing Podcast. I'm Brendan Quigley.
And I'm Heather Watson. How you doing today, Brendan?
Very good.
Great.
Yeah.
Are you still playing with Instagram?
Yes, but not like... Yes. No, yeah.
I have days. Sometimes I'm posting like 20 posts or videos or something in a day, and other days I'll go days without posting anything.
I guess I have like that feeling where it's like, I want to have something useful or interesting to share.
But you hang out there as a viewer? I'm in there
let me think.
multiple times in a day.
That's interesting.
Working, but
guess
also consuming.
I go there for purposes, unlike Twitter, where I might like do a search locally for something.
Right. Find out the news,
Yeah,
that kind
Twitter's
of
like what's going. Like if I see something downtown, it's on Twitter
Yeah.
somewhere. Where Instagram, I tend to go to check out a page or a person or a post, or someone's posted on my post and I post back, that kind of thing.
thing. So while you're hanging out there, have you seen many hashtag ad? Hashtag
No.
Sponsored?
Rarely.
Rarely.
Like, to be honest, yeah.
Because you follow the right people, you're not following influencers?
Maybe. I actually, you know what? I wouldn't know if I'm following an influencer. So I probably don't follow many influencers.
That's fair. I've
Yeah.
seen an increase in them, even in stories, which is irritating to me. And it's funny because the first story that we're going to be talking about today comes from an article posted with a drum. Company has done yet another report, another survey, because that's what we talk about a lot, apparently.
Surveys.
Yeah, surveys.
Yeah.
Gosh, I loved that show when I was a kid. So Instagram's sponsored posts grew by 44% in the first 6 months of this year compared to the first 6 months of last year, according to an influencer marketing company called Bazool, but it was cited by The Drum. Bazool. So the number of posts with hashtag ad and hashtag sponsored tags created by social influencers who can boost a brand's message to wider audience, it's grown. And they have found that, more specifically, fashion, beauty, and food and beverage brands were the most frequently, accounting for 60% of global sponsored content production.
That's a little misleading. You mean like the supplement brand.
That's right.
Food and beverage.
Food and beverage. It's all just supplements.
Check out the strawberry hashtag ad.
Yeah, protein powders and things. No, so it's interesting. I mean, I think it was on the last episode we were talking about the use of those minis and devices in people's homes have kind of stagnated in sales because everybody got one who wanted one, and now we all have them. I feel like with hashtag ad and hashtag sponsored, it's increased 44% because a year ago it became mandatory.
Yeah, no one was doing it.
Nobody was doing it a year ago.
And this is a stat that I don't even know if Instagram could figure out themselves, but is that the percentage of ads that are on Instagram from influencers?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. And what the enforcement rate is and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we did some stories within the past year about certain influencers, DJ Khaled being one of them, who were getting into a little bit of trouble with using hashtag ad or hashtag sponsored or not using it. More importantly, as were other large influencers. But here's some interesting information that has come out of this piece. So marketers are forecast to spend about 1.6 billion, that's with a B, on Instagram influencer marketing campaigns this year. Right?
Sign me up.
Yeah. And the total ad spend on influencer marketing will rise from $5 billion to $10 billion in the next 5 years as advertisers shift budgets from other marketing channels. So to boost growth, the social influencer industry will have to address some key obstacles.
You know what? Actually, this doesn't surprise me too much when I think about who used to be the advertisers 5 years ago, and it was actors and actresses, like and athletes. Like they were the people who
Influencers, you mean, not advertisers.
were.
They were the influencers, like Wayne Gretzky on the Shreddies box.
Sure, not the advertise. Sorry, yeah, they were in the advertisement. Like these were the people that
Spokespeople,
got paid
yeah.
the big bucks to show up in the ad to promote a product. And I've heard it said that like these people got lazy and ego got in there, and they didn't want to like interact with the audience, and that's why this shift to influencers have happened. Still celebrities, not an actor, not an athlete, but for a different reason. But they're willing to like interact directly with their audience and build that community, and that's what we want, obviously.
Yeah.
And so suddenly, like these numbers, like you say $1 billion, like I wonder what the numbers were for hiring actors to promote your product.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I bet you it was a whole lot more than $1 billion, again, because they were worth, like, not that they were worth, but they would demand that higher wage to be in your commercial. So this is interesting. I bet you it's going to go up. I bet you it'll increase.
Perhaps. Now, this article also talks about some of the challenges that influencers are faced with. So when you're saying, "Oh, sign me up, I want to become an influencer,"
Yep.
And we have talked about these challenges before. You know, brands when they're looking at hiring an influencer is getting that return on investment from campaigns and being able to get proper reporting, proper metrics. Is it quality over quantity and that kind of stuff? 76% of marketers cited ROI as the top challenge, ahead of worries about social network, as well as social network algorithm changes. So if you double down and invest in it, and all of a sudden Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat changes how you're and you wake up one morning and that's how it is, and you've already committed to contracts to doing advertising, so it's a little out of your control. And those algorithm changes could affect campaign visibility. So 42% of marketers are concerned about algorithm changes. And also the time to manage the campaigns. 35% of marketers are concerned about that. So it's not as simple as dealing with an agency anymore and saying, "Hey, buy all my radio and television and print advertising."
So there must be an agency for like there would be an agency that had a stable of actors who would do all their booking and all their stuff. There must be similar things for influencers. If there's not, like.
I think the industry
Copyright.
I think the industry is still young, right?
Yeah, right.
And it is very much the Wild West. And,
Yeah.
you know, there are so many, you know, we've talked about this before. What is an influencer? You may only have 500 followers, but they are 500 followers in your local marketplace that are,
The
you
local
know,
millionaire club that likes to buy stuff that
you know,
sell.
or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And, you know, how does an agency find that one person in a community? So it's and it's changing by the hour, right? Like somebody who had 500 followers right this moment could have 500,000 followers tomorrow by, you know, pulling the right switches and doing the right thing.
Viral. Yeah, exactly.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's really hard to keep their hands in on that.
I guess when it comes to the reporting, you know what I mean? There is really no excuse there. And we've talked about that before. Like, talk to your influencers. There's ways to track every link that they post. There's ways to see the referrals, where people come from when they land on your website, and then to follow that path to the checkout, so you can see the ROI. I'm not surprised. Like you said, this is kind of the Wild West. There's no standard for tracking influencer ROI, but it is possible to do. And I would say if you are getting an influencer, like, put a little effort into that side of the agreement and figure out how you're going to track it. And I guess it's even more like, what is a success for this?
Conversions, click-throughs to your website.
Or is it just views? Or is it, like what
shares,
does
comments.
a success mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you are just going for brand awareness, then views make a lot of sense.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you, I feel like you haven't read the article that we're talking about next, but you've kind of hit the next article, getting out your fortune-telling ball, stopping influencer fraud. And Marketing Dive went in on this one. Who, what, and where to look for signs of trouble when you're working with influencers. So, you know, we've already talked about how, you know, brands are spending a ton of money on influencer marketing, an average price of $325 that's coming out of this article from Marketing Dive. And how do you generate or determine what, you know, whether or not the influencer that you're about to work with is one who is good to work with? So, you know, the first question is who to look for. So while it's best to take a comprehensive approach to fraud detection, some influencers may merit closer scrutiny than others. So, there's traditional celebrities, top tier influencers that are least likely to be involved in fraud. They already famous with strong revenue streams established. Their chances are they're not falsifying their numbers in any way. They have real followers. Second tier influencers are more likely to be available for campaigns, however, but the safest are those already famous enough with healthy enough revenue outside of social media to resist the temptation of fake followers. But then when you get into third tier influencers, clamoring to the top may have, they have more reason to game the system. It's super competitive when you're in third tier or lower, and they're likely looking for more followers, real or otherwise, to get greater revenue from brand partnerships. So that's kind of on the who side of things, right? But then it's also, what are you looking for when you're trying to figure out whether your influencer that you're about to work with is a fraudster? So pay attention to engagement patterns on your branded content, not just the raw impressions or likes, to help spot the differences between organic, promoted, and fraudulent engagement. So for example, while unusually high spikes in engagement may occur naturally, seeing them happen concurrently without a sudden rise in follower count is a red flag, right? And we've also talked about this, maybe it was on a radio show or a recent episode, where it's like, those pods that are constantly sharing or liking or regramming content.
Their own stuff, though.
Their own stuff, but also, they belong to a group. So it's like they're just, there might be 100 people, the same 100 people that are always sharing the same content because they're all just trying to help each other rise above and be a bit different. So if it's the same 100 people that are always sharing it or liking it or engaging, then maybe you're not getting the reach, right? Because if those 100 people are also quote unquote influencers, then you're not really reaching the audience of the influencer that you wanted to reach. You're reaching the other influencer audiences, which could be anything, right?
Yeah, no, and I think making sure that you pick the right influencer is a big part of that.
Right. Yeah. The other piece when you are trying to find that right influencer is the where. Like, what is the geographic distribution of engagement? So go in and look at the followers of that influencer, and does it make sense for, first of all, the audience that you are trying to capture? But secondly, does it make sense for what a traditional follower would have, or pardon me, a traditional person on Instagram would have? So if they've got it's a US based influencer or Canadian based influencer, but a large number of their followers are in Asia, then, maybe, just maybe, those followers are bought and they're not really going to give you the quality of reach that you're wanting to get. So taking a look at that kind of stuff. And it becomes a little bit easier over time because inevitably the platforms are going to try and get better tracking and we've talked about that as well, where there's better reporting available. And as a buyer, as a marketer, as a business, and you're trying to hire an influencer in any platform, ask them those questions. Like, what kind of reporting am I going to get at the end of this contract and at the end of this arrangement? And, what type of results do you typically see with clients like mine? What other clients like us have you worked with? What do you, what's your attrition rate? How many, clients actually come back? Can you refer us to clients?
I would also consider a base plus commission with influencers. Not that I've ever done that model, but, paying a fair wage base, but then attaching the success, the conversion that you're looking for to
like a rev share kind of model,
like a rev share, and then clearly defining the success. Is it just a click through to your website? Because that can be faked. You can fake click through to your website, but perhaps it's a click through and it's at least 3 or 4 steps down your funnel. And that's harder to fake. It's harder to automate that. Or maybe it is a conversion. Maybe they get a rev share off each sale that originates with them, which is also a common thing. There's often coupon codes and whatnot that influencers can give. And what's good about this model for the business is that it means that the influencer isn't spamming your information. So you're not alienating people through the influencer. You're not, they're not just spamming it out because I promise to do 10 posts every week. And then the other thing is that they're going to do it in a way that is going to convert their audience best to your product. So again, finding those right fit influencers so that you can have the right fit customer would be important for this type of thing. But when you find the right person with the right audience, this is just a win-win. A win-win-win.
Win-win-win all the way around. Good stuff. I want to move on to the next piece. This is through HubSpot, and it's about when the best time is to post to Instagram. We get that question often where people are like, well, what time of day is good? And it really, I mean, it's not an easy question to answer because oftentimes it really depends on your products and services and what you're promoting and the type of messaging that you have. But Sprout Social, which is a kind of like Hootsuite, it's like a third-party subscription-based social media management tool. They have analyzed customer data overall over the past year, roughly 24,000 customer accounts, to determine what times are working in Instagram. So here it is. Here's the answer to the general one-size-fits-all answer. The best times are Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time, Thursday at 5 a.m., 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 4 p.m. So Thursday's really the day. And Friday at 5 a.m., also Central Time. So obviously with all those times available on Thursday is generally the best day. And the most consistent engagement happens from 9 to 6 Central Time, Tuesday to Friday. The worst days? Any guesses?
I'm reading it.
I know.
So I saw the
I'm
answer.
like, you could have pretended to be surprised. Come on, you
is
already
it
guessed
Sunday and Monday.
How did you know? I mean, you got the last article right before we even started
That's
talking
true,
about
too.
it, so I figured.
Now, what I would say about this is look at your analytics. You
Yep.
might have a niche audience that really likes their Monday mornings.
Yeah. And it really depends on, again, the products and services, the messages that you're promoting. And the only way to determine what's working is by testing and trial. And, you maybe historically Mondays don't work, but maybe the Monday of a long weekend does work.
Exactly. Yep.
So it's really difficult.
And it's not going to hurt to post on a Monday.
No.
So you might as well post and look at the data.
Right. Precisely. And
Yep.
you can have fun with it by posting, to a degree, the exact same message on different days of the week. I wouldn't do them on all days of the week for an entire
The
week.
same
I would
message
spread it
every day.
out, but take a message that seems to get generally good engagement and try it on a different day and
Yeah.
see how that works for you.
Yep.
The Sprout Social, this piece, which we'll link to in the show notes at themarketingpodcast.ca, this report actually does do some pretty good deep dives into the best time to post on Instagram for technology companies, for business to consumer companies, for educational, healthcare, nonprofit. So if you're in any of those categories and you want to learn a little bit more instead of just trying a crapshoot, you might want to rely on some of that data.
It would be good to know, too, that there are applications out there that you can pay for that will analyze your posts, all this information, your followers, who your followers are. They can get expensive depending on how many followers you have. But if you have a large Instagram following and you're looking at optimizing, there are applications that will give you a full report on all that stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tools are there. It's just how much you want to invest in it. And, even within Instagram, you can get some good reporting. You just have to look at it instead of just kind of throwing caution to the wind to see what happens. The next piece that we've added and our final piece today is from Inc. And it is about why you should add Instagram stories to your game plan. Are you using Instagram stories?
Funny, I do. And not for me, but for my band. Because every time we do a show, I'll do an Instagram story of us setting up. And then during the show, I'll hand my phone to someone who will do an Instagram story of the show. And then afterwards, I'll do a thanks for joining us or something on Instagram. And then they've got the highlighted Instagram stories that you can put in your profile.
Feature, yep.
So I will feature the last couple shows. So anyone who goes to our Instagram and wants to see what we're like live or see what we sound like can just watch the last show's sort of Instagram story. And it can be super fun. And also too, people, when they tag you, you can add their video to your story.
Mm-hmm.
And so it becomes very dynamic. We did one for St. Patrick's Day. We played in multiple different places. And so the story was in the morning, I was,
In
clean,
the car, loading
sober,
up. Yeah.
everything was
sober.
everything was excellent. By the end of the night, I was like, "Yep, that's it. We're exhausted. Bye." You know, and I think that's really fun because we're an event. You know what I mean? Like we're events.
People can follow your day.
Yeah.
It's like, where are they? What are they up to now?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Instagram stories. I mean, we know that they sit there for 24 hours. It's nice to always open for your audience, for your followers, to be able to open up Instagram and always see your brand, your name, your business kind of in that top line. Like that's a really good awareness piece. But it is something that Instagram has really seen some growth in, and they're constantly adding new features to stories. They only launched it mid 2016, and since the stories, we've now seen like you can embed other people's stories in your story and that kind of stuff. So I mean, the short answer on this is if you're not, I mean, it's why you should add Instagram stories. So it's not a question of whether or not you should straight up.
No, definitely.
It really comes down to how do you do it, right? Because some people aren't necessarily comfortable in front of a camera and don't want the video of them saying, today we're about to play these 6 gigs and follow us along. So how do you find the interesting content to tell the stories about you, about your brand and the people? And we've worked with a number of clients who are, do employee takeovers, which is kind of fun. So if your company is, large enough, or you have even a creative part-time staff, like let them take control of the Instagram stories and post stuff. We also see a lot of good engagement with the yes/no surveys or the sliders. People like playing with that and engaging with your content in that way. So, if you're selling hard goods, and you've got, version A and version B, it's like, which do you like? And take a picture of the two of them and have the survey yes or no. Or, if you're a restaurant, does this look delicious? And have the slider on there where people can choose the slider. So it's really just kind of thinking out of the box. It takes a lot of time, though. Like that's what I find, even when we're doing content creation for our clients. Great, I've taken a picture and I've taken a few more pictures and I've done a video and I want to add a Giphy, and I want to add a slider and I want to tell a story and make it look cool. Like even just finding a Giphy. Is that really the word?
GIF is what I call it.
Oh, I thought you were a GIF guy.
No, a GIF.
I call them GIFs.
Oh yeah, GIF.
Okay, so I
Be it resolved. It is GIF.
Okay, I thought I was doing you a favor by calling them GIFs. So a Giphy. If I want to find it, I want to find the coolest one possible, and I type in the word, and there's like 10. It's like, that's not really the concept I wanted, and I'll search some more. It takes time to doctor up this, 2-second photo you just took, but it's worth it because you're showing up. You can also get really cool metrics of seeing as people are watching it, where they're watching it, and how they're watching it, and you're always showing up in their feed with fresh new content. And comfort in front of a camera, you don't have to have it. You don't have to do it that way.
I would say Instagram stories, because they do disappear after 24 hours, the nature of them is more forgivable. Meaning, like, if you do something and you mess up, post it anyways.
Yeah.
People like to see what's going on in the back and what's going on behind the scenes of a business or of a personality or anything really. Like, and so it's like where I laugh when people take pictures of their food and post it on Instagram. The story's kind of where that belongs, because it's like, look at this delicious food that we're serving or eating, or look at the delivery that we're getting. Hey, what a great day it is. It's definitely allows for that level, and people will watch it if they want to and skip it if they don't. It's not like forced into their feed. So I would say have fun with it. Allow employees to take over, because it's not going to ruin your business. You know what I mean? And there'd be a fear, they'll do something.
They'll do something shouldn't.
Things that I've seen that are really cool is like for Instagram stories would be like retail. Employees will try on the clothes and take pictures of themselves. And like this is huge across retail. And there were some crazy stories about it when people first started doing it. But like that's a really cool thing. For restaurants, it would be pictures of the food that you're serving right now, like not food that you've doctored up and put in the perfect lit. The food you're sending out right away. And then I've seen like there's woodworking people who will like take snippets of what they're working on while they're building it. And then later on, you'll see an Instagram post of the finished product.
Right.
And I think that's cool. You feel like you got a look at it during its development.
Yeah.
I know we're always very careful not to show like client stuff while we're building it because often it's confidential. But any time you can do that, like that's what people find interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other side of it is like you're talking about the, the worst that somebody can do. You can obviously delete it or, it disappears on its own. But on the flip side, there have been some that we've created that it's like, man, that was so awesome. It looked really, really good. And you can download it and re-upload it again, or you can save it as a highlight, or you can throw it up on Facebook or save it and throw it up on Twitter. So you can get that multiple use out of it as well. And then you're really kind of making it worth your time.
This is it. And don't feel bad. That's the other thing too. Instagram, I feel like people are curating their grids. Like they want their grid to like line up and whatnot, which is okay. Go for it. Don't feel bad reposting stuff into your story. Like if you do find something that worked really well, post it again, maybe at a different time.
Yeah.
To see how it works, you know? And then you'll get a sense. And because they delete in 24 hours, like people may not have had a chance to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's Instagram. I'm going to have more fun with it, I think. I've been, like I say, quiet on it for the last few days. And after talking about it, I'm excited to play again with stories and
GIFs. Bitmojis. Do they have Bitmojis? That's Snapchat.
That's Snapchat.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started on Bitmojis. So I think that's it. Hey, everybody, we really love that you're listening to us. Thank you so, so much. Please engage with us. Find us up on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on Facebook, or even just at themarketingpodcast.ca. For The Marketing Podcast, I'm Heather Watson.
And I'm Brendan Quigley.
Thanks for listening.